All right, let's go to the East. Let's go to the bottom left corner of the bracket. This is the Purdue bracket. Marquette, congratulations. One of the best seasons in program history. Shaka Smart, all hail. Big East regular season champs. So on. Big East Conference tournament champs. Congratulations, you get Vermont in the first round as the 15 seed. Congratulations. I don't actually expect them to lose that game, but that is a 15 seed that they will think about way harder than any other team is. Like you think Ohio State thought about Oral Roberts as much as Marquette's going to think about Vermont? No shot. The 8-9 is Memphis and FAU. We got a Kentucky Providence in the 6-11. Plenty to talk about here. I feel like Michigan State and USC would just play this kind of 7-10 every year at this point.
Oh yeah.
This is a very Michigan State and USC first round.
Yep.
And it'll be one of these teams is going to have to lose, and both of these teams have coaches that are like infield in particular, and then there are some people who are Tom Izzo is low-key washed in March at this point. And so there will be some sort of sweeping declaration about one of those coaches, whoever loses that game. Because both of those coaches are kind of right. You had a USC team that got to the Elite Eight.
That sounds right. Yeah, I think so.
With that Evelyn Mobley team.
Mm-hmm.
I think Gonzaga is who they ran into that year in the Elite Eight. But one of the, it's Andy Enfield, or it's Tom Izzo. There he goes again. Supposedly the guy, it's, January, February, Izzo, April. Stop it. That is silly, by the way. That one is silly. You can't one championship in 20 years. We can't be talking about. We can't be replacing March with the name.
And that's why it's March, not April.
Yeah, fair enough. It's not like his March performance has blown me out of the water either. Anyway,
no, but the amount of Final Fours that they got to in that stretch was pretty remarkable.
I suppose if you're really excited about semifinals, that's
the whole point of why it's March, not April. They didn't win the April games; they won the ones in March.
I suppose. Either way, the point being is that both of these teams are unbelievably uninspiring, in my opinion, and one of them will have a coach that there will be a narrative pushed about them regardless of who loses. What say you about the rest of this bracket?
There are some very interesting teams in here. I think this is the most intriguing one for me. And from a matchup, I want to save the matchups for later. But, right, you got a Marquette team that's never been in this position before. You got a Kansas State team as your 3 seed that's never been in this position before. You got Kentucky there as your 6, playing much better. Also not inspiring a lot of confidence that they're headed to the Final Four or anything like that. And then you got Duke, who's just steamrolling the ACC at this point. You got Tennessee, who nobody thinks is even going to get out of the first round at this point. You got an interesting Memphis team, an interesting FAU team, and then Purdue, who always is going to, speaking of commentaries on coaches, every single season is a referendum on Matt Painter. This is just a fascinating bracket to me.
Fascinating bracket with a lot of, let's get through the first round with the right winners. That would be what I say.
Sure.
TBH. Kentucky Providence, I'm intrigued by, but I also think lots of people are going to talk themselves into Louisiana, and then I just kind of think Tennessee's going to win that game.
I'm picking Tennessee for that very reason.
The Memphis FAU game is super interesting, but this could be either the world is falling apart, or we have a bunch of for some you need to go further than others for the world to not be falling apart. You know what I mean? If Kansas State gets to the round of 32 and then loses to Kentucky or something, like the world's not falling apart. But if Kentucky loses in the first round, then it's oh my gosh, Calipari, oh my gosh, where what's going on there? I mean, I feel like poor Matt Painter's probably got to win this region for it to not be this guy is falling for Matt Painter.
Oh yeah.
Which is unfortunate.
Yep.
But perhaps this year, the first time it's actually reasonable to expect to have those expectations for Purdue. And you have a Purdue team that was not ranked in the top 25, by the way. I mean, we'll forget that if Purdue loses before the Final Four. Yep. But just an FYI, that's not a team that was supposed to be all that good.
Did you see what Zach Edey tweeted?
No, what do you tweet?
I think what I saw was he quote tweeted some, the school's tweet or somebody's tweet about them winning the conference tournament and the regular season championship. He said, "Rebuilding year."
Yep. He's so fun. He's so like his trash talk is exactly what I would expect from Zach Edey. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And like you never question for a single second like that he's just a decent dude, but he also is very, very well aware of how people talk about Purdue and what Purdue was supposed to be, and he's not about to let anybody forget that he understands.
Right.
So that's incredibly fun. Okay, top half of the bracket: Purdue, Memphis, and I will say real quick, I'm upset that I didn't make Kendrick Davis my Dante DiVincenzo Award winner. I feel like that's a swing and a miss on my part. He had 31 in the title game. This is my former first team All-America guy who I still think had a season that would have been worthy of it if he was just kind of on a better team. And that was the fundamental flaw with my pick way back before the season started, that Memphis would need to be really, really special to like they needed to be Houston basically to have a guy be a first team All-America or have him, average 28, and that probably wasn't going to happen. Memphis plays Florida Atlantic. This is the Duke Oral Roberts 5-12, Tennessee and Louisiana, the Ragin' Cajuns. Who makes it to the Sweet 16?
Purdue and Duke.
Duke.
I was coming into the tournament ready to pick Oral Roberts, considering getting over Oral Roberts to the Sweet 16 again. And then their name came up to Duke, and that was the end of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get Tennessee, theoretically, in the second round. A Tennessee team, again, without Zakai Ziegler. There might not be a team that I am more confident reaches the Sweet 16 than Duke in the entire bracket.
Stop saying stuff like that out loud. Now they're going to lose to Oral Roberts. Thanks, Josh. Or Josh has some secret bracket that he actually thinks has a chance to be competitive in the bracket challenge, and that one has Oral Roberts on it. So he came onto this podcast and said silly things like Duke is going to walk to the Sweet 16. Are you crazy? I was going to pick Duke to go to the Sweet 16. I don't know if I'm going to do that anymore. I might just foil you. I might just foil the heck out of you now. I might just take Oral Roberts, and now your Oral Roberts to the Sweet 16 pick is a wash. You're not getting any bonus points for that.
Maybe it was a double reverse psychology or whatever
psychology?
It is. Yeah.
Is double reverse psychology kind of like not? Is it multiplying?
I think it's more like not. Oh. The idea being I wanted you to freak out about Duke, so my secret bracket actually has Duke winning the national championship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have Duke going to Sweet 16 too. Purdue and Duke, who wins?
Duke.
Wow.
Here's where the matchup thing gets really. I feel bad for Purdue because I was just sitting there looking at this going, well, who better to guard Zach Edey than the 2 7-footers who are headed to the NBA?
I mean, one of those 2 7-footers, Cal Filipowski, is not. I mean, just because he's 7 feet tall, I guess he's high up on the list. But exactly. It's Derek Lively that you're actually okay, that's probably number 1 on the list.
Correct.
Of guys most equipped to guard Zach Edey. That's a fun game. How have we not played that game? How have we not played the starting 5 of the all guard Zach Edey team?
Yeah, I Lively's certainly on it.
Filipowski might be on it too, just because he's 7 feet.
Right. Not that
I can't think of a ton of other guys that I have any faith in.
I think Bediako falls into that category. We did talk about that a little bit.
Perhaps.
That's part of this, right? I'm with you that Filipowski is not exactly built to handle that, but then again, nobody is. It's going to be Lively's assignment. But if you're going to, that's about as good as it's going to get. And then, of course, you have this Duke team that's playing really well and kind of figuring out who they are. They're finally healthy. Their record when actually healthy is really, really good, which is the other reason to me, this is not just about the ACC tournament. This is about what this team has done all season when all the pieces are there. And then the other thing I'll throw out here as we get to the bottom of this bracket, if Purdue gets past this game and Marquette gets to the Elite Eight, all I could think about when I was watching the Big Ten tournament was, if I am Shaka Smart, we're bringing chaos back in that game. Full court press, 48 minutes. Purdue, for
48
whatever
minutes. Nice. Where'd you get the other 8?
They're gonna play the other 8. That's correct.
Yeah,
That's how hard Marquette's gonna press. They're gonna press for 48 minutes in 40 minutes. Figure that out. Thank you. 40 minutes. Sorry. I don't care that they don't do it anymore. I don't care that they don't practice it all that much. You have got to. Somebody is going to look at this and just go, we're going to press Purdue because they don't know what they're doing. It is stunning. And you and I were talking about this weekend. And then they almost blew the Penn State game for the exact same reason.
Right.
And you know Shaka's team is ready to do that.
I don't understand why you don't do it for, like, why doesn't anybody just do it for the whole second half? Like, I get, like, maybe if you're a team that doesn't want to do it for 40 minutes.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Like, I get it. But, like, you can't tell me at this point in the season that your guys aren't in the shape to play press for 20 straight minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, like I don't, like, I'm a little surprised that nobody has done that yet. Because, like, it's a little like, you know, you watch a team on, and I get there's a balance. Like it's like a team that actually makes the aggressive moves at the end of a soccer game. And so they actually get good looks on, like, on the goal when like they haven't gotten anything for the first 88 minutes of the match.
Why weren't you doing that?
Right. Yeah. I get there's a balance, and I get that, like, it's all officially, hey, we have to score a goal now. Screw whatever's happening on the other end of the field. Like, I get it. But, like, sometimes it's just like, okay, if you just, like, kind of mixed in like 25% of that aggression, maybe you got a better look sometime before the 88-minute mark. And I kind of feel like that with the Purdue, because they look like they've never seen a press before every time they get pressed.
Yep.
And you and I were talking about it, that, you know, it's like they've tried to be so calculated with breaking it that they forget to just use common sense, right? Like maybe you're supposed to go to the corner to catch the inbound pass, but also, like, if there's plenty of space, like, right there in the middle, just, like, pass it to him right there in the middle. And you're supposed to look for the, you know, the pass back, because that guy's helpful. But, like, if there's nobody between you and the half court line, just dribble it across half court, like,
or at least check to make sure, because that's what happened in the Penn State game. That bucket that really allowed Penn State to get back and actually make it very interesting at the end was, I think it was Ethan Morton caught the inbounds pass in the corner and then sent it back to the inbounder. No, Ethan Morton was the inbounder. I don't remember who caught the pass, but they passed it back to Ethan Morton, if I remember correctly. And it got cut off because Penn State had blitzed to stop that pass from coming. And so he threw the pass, and the pass went, I don't remember if it was Pickett or somebody else, but it went right to a Penn State player. And then they passed it and got the bucket.
It got picked off.
Maybe. I don't remember if it was him or not. But exactly. It's almost like there's a plan to break the press, and if that plan doesn't actually work, there is no way to adjust. So, if I'm Shaka, it's havoc time. And the other part of this,
like, go ahead.
What's the easiest way to stop Zach Edey? Stop him from getting the ball.
Yeah.
That too.
Yeah, and maybe it's not even like every second of, like, the game, but it's like, you know what? Coming out of the under 16 of the first half, we're just going to press until the under 12.
Right.
And like, and that's even more effective maybe in the under 16 of the second half, because then you get Painter to, like, burn a timeout, and then late in the game he doesn't have that timeout to burn because they can't get the ball in again, or Braden Smith catches it and stands in the corner at 5'10" again, and then they have one less timeout to work with. I can't believe you just talked me out of Purdue. I can't believe it. But I'm rocking with Matt Painter. I'm doing it. I've been. It's a point of pride at this point. Everybody acts like they have an affection for Matt Painter, and then it gets time to put the pedal to the metal and to put the chalk on the chalkboard and put the name in the bracket. Nobody does it, and I'm here for you, Matt Painter. I'm here for you. I'm your security blanket. I will continue to believe in you. And I just think that, like, we've been watching teams that have gotten to play Zach Edey twice for the last, like, 3 weeks.
Fair point. If not three times.
Like we talk about how Purdue can't break the press, but like, what do they keep doing with 3 minutes left in the game? They keep being up by 12, right? Like they keep being in the situation where, like, yeah, they look atrocious against the press, but still find a way to win because they're just better for the first 35 minutes of the game. And I think there's something to be said for a bunch of teams that haven't played Zach Edey yet. I think there's something to be said for that. And maybe I'm just wrong, and maybe it'll be Memphis and all of their athletes who press the entire game. And Purdue, has a round of 32 exit. But it's not going to be me who predicts it. It's not going to be me who predicts it.
I would have Purdue in the Elite Eight and possibly the Final Four if Duke wasn't that team in their side of the bracket.
Fair.
To me, it's not about lack of confidence in Purdue as much as it is Duke is the kind of team that can beat Purdue. And we're not going to get 4-1 seeds in the Final Four.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm with you. This is nothing about Matt Painter. I want no part of that Duke team that somehow ended up as a 5 seed, not a 4 seed. Not that it would have made a difference because you would have had to play them in the Sweet 16 anyway. But this Duke thing is real. This is not just playing good basketball for a few weeks heading into the tournament.
And the Purdue thing is real, and it's been real for longer than Duke's has been real. So I'm not going to be the team. I'm not going to be the person to pick against Matt Painter because I'm going to be on the team that picked Matt Painter to go to the Final Four when he went to the Final Four. So Purdue's going to the Final Four in my bracket. Yeah, there's a golf media member who says, like, Rory McIlroy might at one point win the Masters, but I'm not going to be one of the people who predicts him to do it. Like he just said, I'm out on predicting that Rory McIlroy will win a Masters, regardless of how good he looks heading into it. This is the opposite here for me. When Matt Painter makes it to a Final Four, I will have picked him to go to the Final Four. So here we are. I'm picking Purdue to go to the Final Four.
And I have Marquette.
You have to have Marquette. Yeah,
yes, I have Marquette beating Kansas State and then Marquette beating Duke to go to the Final Four.
Fair enough. That would be so fun. That team is so fun to watch. All right.
I am sad we're not going to – we would need to get to the national championship game to get Jalen Pickett and Tyler Kolk in the same game. That is very sad.
Yep.